Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Metro 2033 Redux Good Ending walkthrough, and this is mission 7, also known as Dead City. And this is also two levels combined into one, because in the original game this was divided into two levels. And first thing you may have seen there was that I picked up a key and I also cut a tripwire. And we're gonna head over to this window and look outside to pick up a karma point. We're gonna pick up a few in this level. And here is another tripwire, so be wary of that. And also in this level we are gonna avoid getting some bad karma points. But I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that when we get there. Another thing I wanna say, also not a karma point just for walking into this room. And since we picked up that key, we can open this safe and loot it of all the goodies found in there. There was some bullets and also some gas mask filters. And the gas mask filters, as I've mentioned before, are really essential when you're playing these outside levels. And also in some of the underground levels as well, because some places are radiated. Radiation is leaking in from cracks in the metro system, so sometimes you need to use them underground too. So whenever you go to a shop, unless you're going for the trophy where you get, I think it's a total of 1,000 army grade rounds, which is not super hard to get. As long as you don't spend any money and loot through everything, you should have no problem picking up that trophy. But as I said, whenever I go to a shop, I usually pick up a few filters just to be on the safe side. As long as you're not playing this game on Ranger Hardcore, they are quite abundant with them. And be careful here, because one of those, I think they're called Nosalises as well. And I think they are mutated rats. As you saw, one of them came in, tried to grab me in the back or bite me in the back, but I refused. I refused him from doing that. Just gave him a buckshot shampoo instead. But as I said, we're gonna avoid getting some bad karma points that will push you towards the bad ending. And there are a few instances in this level where you can happen to come across bad karma. And one of the first instances will be coming up quite shortly. Here is one, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but you saw a vision of a dark one right there. Do not fire at those. I think that will give you bad karma. I'm not 100% sure, but just to be on the safe side, avoid doing it. And now I'm running around in here trying to loot, trying to find anything useful. And then we're gonna head down into this elevator shaft. And we are gonna pick up a good karma point by going into this room and finding a ranger stash or a stalker stash or whatever they're called. So going in here we pick up some ammo that we can sell later and some other goodies. Always, whenever you have ammo for a weapon that you won't use, always sell them. As soon as you get to a store, sell all the ammo you don't need. And now we get to a point where you can get bad karma. Make sure to crouch when you go down here. And you see those two Nosalises? That is a mother and her child. Do not fire at them. Not under any circumstance. Just continue crouching and they will not notice that you're here. So crouch. Sneak over in this direction again. We're gonna head up the stairs once again so we can move on. We just went down that elevator shaft to pick up the good karma point and goodies in there. And once again we can head up to the second level. So once again, don't fire at them. And something I think is fun about this level is that I learned a lot about it when I was recording this walkthrough, because I tried some new strategies that I hadn't tried before, just because I wanted to make it as easy as possible to get through this. As you can see, there is one Nosalis sitting up there and there is another one here. As long as you stay behind them and you crouch, they will not notice you. And I'm gonna show you the power of the handgun. Because I aim at his head, one shot, down he goes. And since I bought a silencer for my pistol, his friend didn't notice shit. So we can sneak onwards, open up this container and pick up 3 arrows. Also, to use those for a weapon, I think it's called the Helsing, which I think packs quite a good punch, can't really remember. And in the second game in this series, there is a trophy for killing one of those flying mutants with the Helsing. Can't remember what it's called, but it doesn't really matter right now because this is a walkthrough for 2033 and not for Last Light. I will be uploading a walkthrough for Last Light as well. And since we're talking about these games, if you have followed E3, you have seen the new trailer for Metro Exodus coming out. And oh my god, that game looks amazing. I'm super stoked for it. There's been a lot of good games on E3 actually. Here is another point where I think this will give you a good karma point. I think I read something about it online, that when you're in this vision of the city before things went haywire and you take off your gas mask, you get a good karma point. Maybe I was a bit quick to put mine back on. And as you could see right there, there was another dark one. Don't ever fire at the dark ones. You will run into them in a few more instances. There is one point where you're gonna have to do it, but that is a lot later on in the game. And of course, since I always rant on in these videos, when we get there I will talk about it. But getting back to E3, there have been quite a lot of announcements and really looking forward to quite a few games after it. I'm gonna go down to my video game retailer and drop a few pre-orders and spend all the money I make on video games, because that's what I do. I saw the new game from Software. Also, quick note here, crouch in this area, start sneaking, because there are quite a few mutants outside. This is also something I learned during the recording of this, because I usually ended up in a situation backed into a corner where a bunch of mutants would attack me. But I realized that if you sneak out here, shoot him in the face, only clipped him a little bit so he didn't die. That was my mistake, bad aiming on my part. But now I have shitloads of mutants chasing me, so keep your speed up going through here and we'll see one of those winged mutants over here. So continue running, he's feasting on a corpse. As they do. So we just give him a quick buckshot in the back to show him that he should piss off and let us go on our merry way. And this is one of those areas where you need to be a little bit quick. And I think just because I clipped that, or just struck him a little bit, one of those mutants, one of them is gonna attack me when I go back here. So be aware of that. If you haven't killed him, you will most likely get attacked. And there he is. So we end it right there. And be quick, because that winged mutant can pick you up. And I think that if he drops you in the water, it is an instant kill. There are a few instances where you can get instantly killed in this game. But once again, going back to E3, I watched the trailer for From Software's new game. I think it's called Sekiro, something like that. Shadows Die Twice. Could be really awesome. I was a bit disappointed because I was hoping that they would go back in their promise and that maybe it would be a Bloodborne 2. Wasn't that lucky, but it seems pretty awesome. And of course, The Last of Us 2 looked absolutely beautiful. Amazing game. And also quite pleased that Bethesda have announced both Wolfenstein Youngblood and also The Elder Scrolls 6 And me and a friend of mine, we were discussing where that game is gonna take place. I am hoping that you will move all across Tamriel, over the entire continent. Is that the correct term? Or country? Should be continent, because all the others, Daggerfall and Morrowind, are separate countries in that world. So, but it would be awesome if it's one of those really huge, gigantuous RPG games, because Skyrim was pretty fucking big. So I have my hopes up, but time will tell what happens next. But going back to this game, we are getting close to the end of this level. We are gonna have one more little showdown with the Nosalises and also that winged handbag. So what I like to do is head into this corner and put my back against the wall. Because you see that fence that is almost collapsed? That giant winged thing is gonna land on that and break it. So that will be our way out. And since Bourbon is standing so far ahead of me, most of the Nosalises that will come in to attack us will aggro towards him. Do not fire at any Nosalises unless they try to attack you, because I think if you do it, they will switch their aggro from Bourbon to you. And he's not great at killing them, but he can soften them up at least. And once again, I show you just how piss poor I can be at aiming sometimes. But since Bourbon is doing his best to keep them at bay, I get all the time in the world to reload my weapon. I'm trying to keep an eye on the fence for when that winged thing is gonna land. And I think he should be arriving just about any second now. Starting to get a little bit nervous because these Nosalises were getting really close. But he comes down and we can run through the fence. And I have forgotten exactly what I was supposed to do. I tried to run a bit too far. But all you need to do is head to this building. Because Bourbon is going to help you up, and we can grab his hand, we'll fall through straight out to the Wolfman gaming title screen. So I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.